And by Sandra Core Life is
7 a.m. and it's now time for the Morning Watch. But before that, today, the Morning Watch is sponsored by Bashco, the store that gives you more.
Well, if you want buy appliances for your home with the quality high and the price so get it on Bashco. Get it on Bashco. Bashco. Everything with the need, Bashco. It's never need on Bashco.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM. Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org, and if you're overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, the case for electronic and other types of voting. And in the second watch, an official Jamaican sign language. For our social media question, we ask, why did you not vote in the last two elections? We're asking you to share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's our quote.
All right, today's I quote says, you learn nothing in life if you think you're right all the time.
Okay. Good morning, Joka.
Good morning.
Hey, have you noticed since the rains have come how the potholes have been transformed?
Oh, yeah, man. Some new ones. It's like the Grand Canyon. Oh, my goodness.
I saw some this morning. I'm sure I didn't see them yesterday.
Listen, new potholes popping up like pimples.
Heaven help us.
Yeah.
The first watch will be back after this break.
Don't let freshness stitch you when you need it the most. Wash your clothes with Downy Softener to keep dazzling everyone around you from day to night. Try Downy Softener now. Hey, the Summer Pro app is a great way to get flow prepaid mobile plans. You know the plans that give you real unlimited social media, YouTube, anywhere across the unbeatable TikTok, and for limited time only, get a 20-day plan for only $2,900 when you activate through the app. That's a $500 saving.
Easy, convenient way to save on your full 28-day prepaid mobile plan with unlimited social and anywhere calls is to download the Pop and Flow app or visit popandflow.com.
Download today and start saving.
Here is your opportunity to connect with someone who will listen, pray, and give guidance. It's the Ministry of Counseling and Prayer of the Edgewater Baptist Church. Please call 876-220-6474 or 876-332-7956. Weekdays between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Please talk to someone if you're finding it particularly challenging to cope during this period of crisis. Someone is waiting for your call. Please reach out today, 876-220-6474 or 876-332-7956. It's the telephone counseling and prayer ministry of the Edgewater Baptist Church. A reminder that somebody cares. Endorsed by Love 101.
When I come to the end of myself, carry me.
Every Saturday, 7 p.m. to midnight on Love 101. You're invited to travel in time with music. It's a gospel music machine with the gospel music master.
And yours a peaceful and reflective Heroes Day. Are you ready for another exciting Joins All Alive?
Yes, it's good morning. Calling to the show for the morning one. All right, both of us are on now. Both? Yeah, thank you.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, voter turnout in Jamaica has been less than stellar over the years and has been getting worse each election. Our next general elections are due in 2025, and it's against that backdrop that there's a new or renewed talk about electronic and other types of voting as viable options. So, what are the commendations and or concerns associated with those options? To answer these and other related questions, we have online Bert Samuels, attorney at law, and Bishop Hero Steve Blair, Bishop of the Gateway Deliverance Center and host of The Rock on Love 101 FM. Good morning to you both.
Good morning. Morning, Reverend Blair.
Morning
Yes,
to you
good
both.
morning to you.
All right, let me begin with you, Bert Samuels. Can you remind us of how the voting mechanism has evolved over the years in Jamaica?
Well, it started without the fingerprint to prevent duplication. It started with just your ID and saying who you are. With serious criminal offenses, if you double vote or you vote without being qualified. And then it moved now to the question of fingerprinting, so that it would be now one fingerprint, is peculiar to an individual. And then you have the counting process where the ballots must be marked in a certain way. And interestingly, ballot education, ballot marking education is part of what we should be discussing, because there are a lot of spoiled votes by people who don't seem to know how to vote. I think the parties spend a disproportionate amount of time begging people to vote rather than teaching people how to vote. So that's what we're into now. And then we look at, since 2011, for the first time in the Jamaican Constitution, there's a right to vote. But the way it is expressed in the Constitution of 2011, the amendment, the Charter of Rights, is that you have a right to be on the voters list. You have to be registered as a voter. There are some countries where you have to vote. It's compulsory.
Mm.
So there are different models and developments over the last, I would say, half a century.
Yes. Yes, thanks for that overview of it historically. Bishop Blair, based on what has been said and what you know of what the mechanisms, what are your commendations or concerns with the present system of voting in Jamaica?
Well, good morning, everyone. The present system of voting in Jamaica, let's begin by saying that our voter turnout has been very low. And I had the impression for many years that that was something that would make independent runners in the election have a good opportunity. But one of the things is that I learned that the dead people are voting. I learned that a lot of these situations, despite us saying that elections are fair, that the system has not gotten rid of many people at the level of the voters list, for instance. So the need for the updates of the list and it's free and fair election are something for us to look at. And it is not a matter of saying, the voters haven't turned out. The voters have been turned out, but we've not been doing well in terms of getting some people off the list and getting some people who are dead to stop voting. That's a very important situation that we've been looking at. And so it was in conversations with parliamentarians.
Bishop, your voice is going in and out. I don't know what's going on technically.
Technically, I'm abroad at the moment.
No, you're sounding better now. You're just sounding better. Okay. So stay right there.
Yes. Yeah, but the situation really is that we need to get to a point where we are presenting electors or presenting the country with the opportunity for free and fair elections. And that is something that we've not really truly fully gotten to, and nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah. And any commendations, though, Bishop, with the present system?
Well, not necessarily commendations. Just that there's a need for us to move forward and continue. One of the things that we must fully look at is that the electronic voting will indeed present some opportunities for us, but at the same time, there will still be needs for how do I say this? There's going to be need for us to maintain our battle to keep things free and fair. Because electronic voting will have its downfalls, and we have to be very careful moving forward.
Okay. Bert Samuels, you wanted to add anything in terms of the present system?
Yeah, I think we have a generation with a lot of apathy. When I was growing up, you heard your mother and father voted for a certain P, one P or the other P, and a tradition of following your parents or a particular area, geographic area, are strong supporters of one of the parties, and therefore people would line up and vote. Now we have a lot of apathy. Young people, why am I voting? Will it make a difference? So you have young people who are not interested in the system. They have taken away from it. Their parents are active in the political party which they support, but they have no interest. And then you have another situation where with COVID and with the lack of face-to-face interaction, the young people who don't necessarily have to leave their homes to go to work. They don't have to leave their homes to go and get food. Food is brought to them online and it's delivered to them. So to get them out of their homes to go to the polling booth is something that they are not attracted to, because they don't do banking face-to-face. They stay home, do their banking, stay home, get their food delivered, stay home, work from home. So virtual interactions is now the thing of the day. And that is why it is a must. A former director of elections said it is inevitable that we have to go down that road. Now, if I had a friend this morning who told me she voted yesterday in Georgia in the United States.
Right.
She has already voted. So they are not restricting voting to one day. So can we afford, will it help if we move the 1 day voting, or we make it as the other former director of elections said? We take the soldiers and the nurses and whatever, we have them voting on a special day.
Yeah, we're going to say more about that, but we're up on a break right now. Be right back.
Time is now 7:15. We want to thank Bashko for sponsoring 7 to 8, the store that gives you more.
Appliances for your home with the quality high and the price low. Get it on my Bashko. Get it on my Bashko. Everything with your need, Bashko. It's never need on a Bashko. Your home and your kitchen that
The report is out.
What report?
The Constitutional Reform Committee's report of recommendations.
Recommendations on what?
And how we move from a monarchy to a republic, of course.
So what's in it?
The creation of the office of president and changes to our parliament. Yes, man. It also includes a new qualification for membership in parliament. I know you want to see that one.
Read the full report at roadtorepublic.mlca.gov.jn.
We are on the road to republic.
Mama work hard, for real. To be the most to send me and my brother go school. So, the dream was always to go to university. Well, I fulfilled 2 dreams with 1 joint bank savings plan, you know. Further my education, and I make mama proud.
Wishing you could. With your Jane Bank savings, you absolutely can. Jane Bank will help you find a way.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And this is the first watch. We're looking on the case for electronic and other types of voting. In so doing, we have online Bishop Harris Steve Blair, Bishop of the Gateway Deliverance Center and host of The Rock here on Love 101 FM, as well as Bert Samuels, attorney at law. Mr. Samuels, before the break, you were speaking. You wanted to say anything else on the...
Yeah, I'm just saying to capture the interest of the... easier for them to vote, because I'm not going to talk. And they pick on the take your money down. So we know the challenges, but that's the way to go.
Yes. Further to your point, Bert Samuels, the voter apathy, as you know, is beyond the young people, right? It seems to be the nation in general when you look on the stats. What's causing that?
I think that the people have said that the parties are not necessarily different. They are basically the same people. After a while, they enthusiastically vote them in one political party, and after 2 terms, they get fed up with them and they are not interested in them anymore. So when you have people who have grown into that system, the older people who know you're just swapping one set of people for another, the older people themselves have been gotten frustrated that there isn't anyone who is making a serious change.
Right.
Serious change. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Bishop Blair, your take on that? The voter apathy in general in Jamaica.
Well, obviously, as I spend so much time on the road speaking with people, the things that people say is that it's not going to make a difference. No matter what I do, it's not going to make a difference because I'm still poor, and whoever I vote for is not doing anything for me. And we know Jamaicans are always looking for some kind of personal advancement. We're not seeing that for many people. They're not seeing it for themselves. Um, and so at the end of the day, they don't see a reason to vote. It's not going to change anything. And as Bert said, the thought that, okay, well, the parties are the same. There's no. Well, one of the things I noticed when I came to Jamaica is that in terms of journalism, the journalists don't really say, well, this person did this in Parliament. So there's no investigative reporting regarding politics at that level. Well, what has this MP done? What has this MP voted for, etc., etc.? What does this person stand for? So the people don't really see a need to really show up, because as far as they're concerned, my vote is not going to make a difference. I've met so many people in their 20s, 30s, 40s who have never voted, who don't even want to go down that road because they don't feel it makes any sense. So at the end of the day, I don't want to say the politicians feel, well, they're okay without that vote because they have their machinery getting their people out to vote, and as long as those people vote, they'll be able to get ahead. We're looking at what, 30% of our country voting. We've not been given a real mandate by our people to say, I need you to lead. There still needs to be some education. There still needs to be some, I believe, getting people just to move away from, well, I'm JLP, I'm PNP, but that's not going to happen, because even in America, where I am now looking at the electoral process, people are definitely saying, okay, well, I'm Republican, I'm Democrat, I'm not going to vote for Trump, I'm not going to do this. Yet over 300,000 people voted yesterday already in Georgia, as Bert mentioned, and the system allowed for that. And as people see a reason to vote, whether they want to vote for a Black woman or a Jamaican woman or for somebody who's not for abortion, etc., then they try to step out to vote. In Jamaica, we don't really have those issues at the moment, and nothing that will pull people out to say, I'm going to make that difference.
Yeah, but Bert Samuels, using the same scenario that you have drawn in terms of the voter apathy, why is it? Well, let me ask it two ways. What difference would electronic voting make? What would it look like? And why is it we believe that will make any major difference to anything?
Yeah, I think that a lot of young people, they're very busy, they don't have time for anything around themselves, So to go out and form a line is different from them going on their phones and clicking. I think we'd get at least among the demographics of, say, 18 to 30, it would double the amount of persons willing to vote, because they will just do it online and continue, doing their work from home. But there's another point I want to raise. The reality in Jamaica is that we do not select or vote for a prime minister. The head of state is not voted for by the people. The head of state is effectively voted for by the delegates in the political party. So we are bound by what who the delegates choose to be the head of state. Now, we know, so there is a big argument. We should vote for a head of state. So here it is. I may like a particular MP because he's doing very well, but I don't like his leader. So I want to vote for him, but I want to vote for another leader. Now, the options do not allow that, and that's part of the apathy. What sense it makes, because I don't know who will emerge as the prime minister, because it's not determined by the Jamaican populace, it's determined by delegates in the party. That has to change, eh?
Okay. Bishop Blair, your take on that? What difference do you think electronic voting would make in this apathetic mood toward voting in Jamaica?
I bring two things to the table. First, I think Bert's mind is so, I don't want to say it's because I believe that Bert is a Meadowbrook man, Meadowbrook High School. Yes. Because I am a Meadowbrook High School man.
Okay.
But the point I do want to make is that this is something that requires constitutional change, and the move by the parties towards it has been rather slow. For over 25 years, maybe, we've been talking about this kind of thing. And it is one of those things that people have been just watching into what things been happening. The vote for a political leader is something that makes a big difference. And in our country, yes, we continue to vote for parties, but not for a prime minister or for a president. And that is something I've been hoping to see change over the years. But the other point that Bert made, especially since COVID, we've seen a transformation in our country. I'm not sure about your church, but many churches are a good example of the situations we're facing, where people are absent. And when you talk to them, well, I'm still going to church, Pastor Blair. I watch everything online.
Mhm.
This generation, not just the generation age-wise, but this situation is something that is impacting many people in many different areas of life around the world, where people are now saying, well, I don't need to take the bus. I will have Bible study.
Right,
online.
convenient.
I don't need to do this. So online is the modus operandi of this.
But Bishop,
this part.
if
Yes, sir.
if they are saying basically that it makes no difference for in regards to the two major political parties, why would they also want to go and vote electronically? Because it's the same thinking, is it not?
Difference. I'll tell you why. Because people are looking for change. I'll give you another example. I live in an area, let me put it that way, where a JLP activist came to me and said, the election is coming up. This is this last election. So I said to him, so who is the JLP person that works in this area? Because I've never really seen the I can't remember what they call the position. However, he said to me, no, I'm going to vote for the PNP man. I said, what? He said, yes, this guy works hard. This guy delivers. And everybody said the same thing to me. So you find even the JLP voting for the PNP councillor. And but this guy would never ever vote for a PNP prime minister. It makes a big difference if people can see their councillor or their MP working. That's right. And that they can depend on this person for the roads.
But if they're not seeing those things, Bishop, if they're not seeing those things, why would they go and vote even electronically?
Well,
that's the point I'm making.
I understand,
yeah,
but I'm saying that they're seeing that in some areas. But at the same time, if they're not seeing it, why would they vote? Well, because electronic voting is easier, and our job as people and leaders is to encourage people to vote.
Yeah.
People are not going to leave their homes to go and vote or to go and do things when they can, when it's going to take them out and it's going to cost them bus fare. So they're not coming to. I'm using church as an example. So they're not coming to church or they're not doing this, but the fact that they can go online makes a big difference.
A big difference.
So I've found people over the last 2-3 years that even though I've not seen many people who used to come to church, I'm also finding people who likes the ability to be online. So here's another thing.
Yeah,
I'm finding people in the diaspora doing Bible study with me. I'm finding people, and that's another thing now. So now, as we look at developing the elections in Jamaica, we may be able to get we may be able to get a change where diaspora people can become a part of the electoral process like that. We may find situations where people who are traveling can vote. We have opportunities, and that's what electronic voting does. It gives you opportunity to advance. So yes, we may not have as many as we want coming on board, but others will come in.
Yeah,
because of that fact that it's there and it's ready.
Yeah, Bert, you have the final word. A quick thought on mandatory voting.
Yeah, that's not going to work in our society. We are coming from a slavery background, and people don't want to be forced to do anything. That's not going to work here. But I like to comment on the fact that when election day comes,
20 seconds, Bert.
A man who is self-employed He's not going to go out there and give up time when he could be earning his money. That's another challenge. That's why it shouldn't be a one-day affair. That's my thing. Don't, at least the first move should be make it, at least you can vote over a 4-day period.
Early voting. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
right.
Thank you both gentlemen for joining us. Have a
Pleasure.
productive day. And safe flight back home, Bishop.
Yes, sir.
All right. Bless you both. Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
The time by Jam Bank is
7:30.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future. NHD contributes.
Well, if you want appliances for your home with the quality high and the price low, get it in a Basco. Get it in a Basco. Everything with the need, Basco. It's like a need and a Basco. Look up your home and look at your home from that.
When teeth diapers are difficult to change, Pampers easy up. They're easy to put on and take off, keeping their skin protected. Changes are easy.
looking to add a touch of elegance to your roof. The lighting worldwide cost rate is having a massive lighting blowout sale. Get your wall lamps, chandeliers, ceiling lamps, fans, and more at amazingly low prices. Sale begins Sunday, September 29 with up to 50% off selected items. It's the Fosrich Lighting Blowout Sale. September 29. Shop and save only at Fosrich. Open Sundays.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And let's look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. In the Gleaner, motorist killed gangland style in front of Mobay police facility. Also in the Gleaner, some MPs don't read. I see alarmed over lack of knowledge among legislators who fail to review reports sent to Parliament. In the Observer, Finance Minister issues overtime warning. And also in the Observer, Windies dreaming of T20 glory as Australia remain hot favorites. And in Loop News, Jamaica moves forward with comprehensive national stadium overhaul, as well as in the Loop News, flash flood watch issued for southern parishes, says the Met Office. Those are some of the major stories and news in our newspapers. Coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our social media question. Why did you not vote in the last two elections? We're asking you to leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
Imagine opening a bank account without ever leaving your home. Well, CIBC Caribbean, we've changed the game. Open a new CIBC savings or checking account completely online using your computer or phone, anywhere, anytime. No need to visit the bank, no waiting in line. Just apply, verify, and sign your documents, all online. It's secure, seamless, and 100% digital. Open your new CIBC account by applying online today.
Well, if you want buy appliances for your home with the quality high and the price low, get it on Habasco. Get it on Habasco. Everything with the cash, it's like what you need on Habasco. Your home, get it on Habasco.
The time is now. Beat the clock with the Yadon Road Heroes Day Flash Sale. Sign up for Yadon Road for only $5,300 plus GCT and get a Visa cash card loaded with $15,000 that you can use at the supermarket, gas station, and more. Plus, you can get a Samsung A05 for only $1,999 plus GCT when you sign up. This offer ends soon. Sign up for Yadon Road today. Visit discoverflow.co or a Flow store for more details. Conditions apply.
This is a special announcement from Love 101 and Love Television. Our general offices will be closed to the public on Heroes Day, Monday, October 21, 2024, and will be open on Tuesday, October 22 at 8:30 a.m. Programs and commercials for the period Friday, October 18 through to Tuesday, October 22 should be submitted by 12 noon on Thursday, October 17, and obituaries and notices by 1:30 p.m. on the same day to ensure scheduling for broadcast. Love 101 and Love TV wish for you and yours a peaceful and reflective Heroes Day.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now join Jokal for a look at how our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp friends answered today's question. Why did you not vote in the last two elections? Jokal.
All right, so we have some responses here. The first one comes to us from YouTube. Sonia Jones says, I don't think the electronic voting is relevant. No. And why his government is rushing the system. It needs to be sorted out properly, and they need to be educated on the system. But it sounds like they were more talking about the first watch. Cherry in Spanish Town says, let's just find it here. All right, Cherry says, good morning. It is high time Jamaican politics move away from partisan politics, uplift the communities across the length and breadth of Jamaica, not just one section of the community, because you don't consider to be your choice. And Faith says, no better hearing, no better barrel. Both are the same.
Right, no better hearing, no better barrel. Yeah. Thank you very much, those who responded. Interesting responses as usual. As we now segue into the second watch, did you know that there is a Jamaican sign language? Yes, a Jamaican sign language. Well, it's perhaps not official yet, but concerted efforts are being made to get it there. And that's the focus of the second watch. And to assist us in so doing, we have online Andre Witter, CEO of Ready to Sign, and Abram Akin, who will be doing some signing, I gather, online. And so if you want to see Abram, you can log on as we go through this discussion. We're hoped to be joined by Tony Akin. Not sure if Tony is on as yet. Is she on? All right, not as yet. Okay, so we only have Andre Witter and Abram Akin doing the signing online. Again, you can log on to see him do that. Andre Witter, morning.
Good morning.
Yes. How you doing?
Well, I've been doing fine recently.
Great, great. Thank you. Now, on Andre, for the record, approximately how many types of sign languages exist in the world, and what are the main ones? Can you tell us?
Well, yes, the sign languages in the world, there are more than 300 sign languages, and some countries, there are more signs. So, for example, in Jamaica, many people think that, oh, JSL is just one sign language in Jamaica, but really and truly, there is JSL, and there is only country sign that's used in St. Elizabeth. But if we check it out, we will realize that there are more people that use sign exact English. So it means that each country will have their language and it will be named after their country, and then it will have the sign language attached to it. But there are villages, there are small groups of people that develop their own languages and they can name it. So I can say overall it's more than 300 international. Okay.
300. All right. So let me get clear now. Let me just clear this up. Abraham, you're the one speaking, correct? Correct, Abraham. Are you the one speaking to us instead of Andre?
I'm the interpreter speaking. But Andre, I'm interpreting for Andre.
Okay. All right. And speaking. Okay. Thank you. So, what are the distinguishing features of Jamaican Sign Language, and how is it similar to other sign languages?
Well, all languages have their own unique way of communication, but oftentimes we realize that it's similar in the deaf community, in how they express their history and experiences, their everyday life through the developing language. And oftentimes people would think that they would prefer American Sign Language to be used in Jamaica, but I would say no, right? However, we will see sign language possibly being similar with American Sign Language, and it can be similar with other countries. But we have been doing research, careful research, to see how we can proceed with the grammar structure, the rules, and development to recognize differences in sign language. Okay, so culture is really important in signing. It's a visual language, so it's possible that we can see similarities in other signs, and it has to be connected with the culture and it has to be connected visually, right? And oftentimes people would look at sign and say, oh, that's it. It's the same. All of the sign languages are the same. No, we have to look at the signing, facial expression, body language, and the culture. So we have to look at all of these aspects and we can see the difference.
Does being Jamaican mean that it is based on patois? Any at all?
Well, Jamaican Sign Language, it's a bilingual language. So it's derived from English, not patois. However, there are deaf people that use patois in Jamaican Sign Language. So if we want to know which sign language is used in patois, it is same. So it's only used in St. Elizabeth. That's the sign language only used in St. Elizabeth, right? And it's
what is only used in St. Elizabeth?
So the deaf people who live in St. Elizabeth, their language is called Sain, S-A-I-N.
Oh. And the distinguishing feature of Sain is what?
So they use patois in signing, not English. Okay, so while in JSL, it's translated from English.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right, interesting stuff. I didn't know about this same issue. We are up on a break. We'll be right back.
It is now 7:45, and we want to thank Bashko, the store that gives you more, for sponsoring the Morning Watch today.
Once upon a time, there was a girl named Kay. She loved to dance and play. One day at school, she got very ill, and Mom was left with an unbearable bill. It would be easier if Mom was prepared. With school companion, 80% of the bill is cleared. Medical care for children is a must. For as low as $2,540 per month, make unbearable medical bills go away. Sign up for Study for School Companion today. Conditions apply.
The Jamaica gospel music industry presents a benefit gospel concert Friday, October 18, 7 p.m. at New Testament Church of God, 65 Waltham Park Road. Come see an array of artists, including Robbie Gotti, Gary Kingston, Sebastian Vale, John Mark Wickham, Sister Pat, Audia Spencer Brown, Harry Sale, Jim Radical, and many more. Missions walk with a contribution. Hearts and Hands for Stitchy, Friday, October 18, 7 p.m. 65 Waltham Park Road, New Testament Church of God.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And this is the second watch. We are examining the matter of Jamaican Sign Language becoming official. Yeah, there is a Jamaican Sign Language. And in so doing, we have online Abram Aiken, Sign Language Interpreter. We have Andre Witter, CEO of Ready to Sign. And I gather we are also joined by Antoinette Aiken, who is also a sign language interpreter. Welcome to you, Antoinette.
Hi, morning.
Yes, great to have you with us. Let me just bring you in right now, Antoinette. How widespread is the use of Jamaican Sign Language in Jamaica today? And do you know of it being used in other parts of the world?
Well, it can be used in other parts of the world. So, for example, you have deaf people living in the United States, of course, who are Jamaican, who still use Jamaican Sign Language. You also have deaf people who are in Amsterdam, other parts of Europe who still use Jamaican Sign Language, who are Jamaican. But they will, of course, use the native sign language to that country once they're there, because they will have to learn it to be able to communicate effectively with other deaf people. I just wanted to put in that the interpreter had said sign, saying, but it's actually sign. It's SAIN, and it's in patois. It's spelled in patois, so it's sign, not saying.
Oh, it's pronounced signs.
Yeah,
What's
sign.
that? SAIN. Thanks. No, still with you, Antoinette. Why has it taken so long for Jamaican Sign Language to become official here? And what is involved in the process?
Well, it's going to have to go through policy, and it's going to have to become it's going to have to be added into law, and you know that can take a while because of how our parliament system is. It has to go to Chief Parliamentary Council, it has to go to cabinet, it has to go through the different steps once approved. I'm hoping that eventually the government will see the importance of making Jamaican Sign Language an official language. I know that they're aware of it, but as to the steps being taken, I'm not sure. It has taken a while because deaf people have always been ostracized. I think this next year will be my 20th year interpreting, and I think after 20 years of actually, being on the television, or people witnessing that there's actually a career path in interpreting, I think it has definitely changed how Jamaicans view sign language. There are a lot of people learning sign language. We have so many things popping up. We have the sign language clubs of Jamaica. We have so many things popping up now to connect the deaf community. So it's way better than it was 20 years ago, but we still have a little way to go.
Yeah, yeah. Andre Witter, why is it important for the general public to learn sign language, whether it be in Jamaica, the Jamaican version or not? Why is it so important, would you say?
Well, it's just a part of the human rights. And for communication developing, in aiding in developing countries, we need to have this language being developed to prevent communication barriers. So really and truly, a person should learn sign language, and it's a part of their personal development, because if we can get hearing loss at any time, we can become deaf at any time. So if you look at the data, you would realize that 100 individuals every year actually hearing loss, right? And many parents who have children who are deaf, they can't use sign language to communicate, and the children who are deaf, they are deprived from their language, right? And they will experience abuse. There's no emotional or mental support. And it's really important that all people should know sign and use sign and be ready, because tomorrow we don't know what might happen.
Yeah, hearing you loud and clear. Antoinette, can you say even anecdotally how many persons in Jamaica depend on sign language to effectively communicate?
I've heard a figure somewhere around 8,000 to 12,000. And
Wow.
why we say that is because we'll have some deaf people who probably in the 60s, 70s, and 50s were separated from society and not sent to school, etc., etc. So it's in that range. We also have deaf people who are, have lost their hearing at an older age. We wouldn't necessarily put them in that number because they wouldn't be considered culturally deaf. They'll probably still be using spoken language and reading lips because that has been their thing for their entire life, using their hearing ability. So we don't add them in that number. The 8 to 12,000 would be culturally deaf people.
Yeah, hearing you. Andre, generally speaking, one gets the impression that when we talk about patois or Jamaican language dialect, there are persons who either see it as comical or they see it as less than standard English. Have you encountered challenges in that regard in terms of how people interpret and respond to the Jamaican sign language?
Well, in the past, yes. We had a lot of experience in discrimination, but currently it seems that people have shifted from discrimination. And for example, now we may not see people speaking or behaving like this, but the way how they think and the way how they treat people, they might not be able to budget and provide for an interpreter for accessibility. They might say, oh, it's not important. It's not important to select qualified and good interpreters. They think, okay, anyone who can sign is an interpreter, and they might bring them in. So that behavior and that attitude and that mentality can impact how they perceive the language.
Yeah.
But
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I must admit that people who behave like this over time, they can learn and realize and say, okay, I need to change this, and we have seen a lot of improvements. But however, more people still need to be sensitized about this and about the importance of communication access.
Yes. Antoinette, would you like to add anything to that comment?
Well, I'd just add that Jamaica has definitely changed. We have grown a lot. When I was growing up, deaf people would be mimicked in so many different ways. People would try and copy their sign language by just throwing up their hands in the air. People would make funny sounds with their voices. That's not a thing anymore. People are literally accepting that, hey, I want to learn sign language. I want to be able to communicate with deaf people. It's
Mm-hmm.
as Andre said, the society has shifted, and it's a good thing.
Yes. Andre, what are some of the challenges, if any, in regards to demographics, age, gender, and also social, economic realities?
Well, in the deaf community, we just have deaf communication. So if deaf people want to go to healthcare facilities or they need to get any important information, we would always get it last, right? And we never are prioritized most of the time, because back then in Jamaica during the COVID period, there was an interpreter almost every day, and now that interpreter is seen less. So important news to be announced is not there. And it's our country. Why can't we know? Right? And many television channels, they have a lot of important things being stated, and it's not accessible to deaf people in general. And if we go to the hospital, we have to bring an interpreter, we have to pay for our own interpreter, and maybe it's 4 or 5 times the cost. And if you want to go to the police station, can't make a report now because the police don't understand sign. And if an interpreter, I have to wait a few days or a few weeks to get an interpreter. And many deaf people cannot really bother to go to make a report or go to healthcare facilities. And I think it's JSL that it should be an official language now, because the government can take accountability and provide this service for everyone to have access to communication, because we already have the police station that the government provides, and hearing people can go to make a report without paying, without having to worry about their financial issue. But deaf people have to budget for any amount of communication or any type of communication, and the question is why?
Yeah. So Andre, I'm hearing you focusing a lot on the government or leaders in the nation. What can the average citizen, generally speaking, the man on the street, the woman on the street, the boy, the girl, do to make life easier for your community?
Well, it's really simple. Just learn sign language, be able to communicate, and the problem is solved. So that's it. That's it. Problem solved. Learn sign language.
Okay, yeah, I know. And Antoinette, as we wrap up our discussion, those who are interested in learning sign language, what information can you give in terms of who, what, where, when, and how?
So we have Ready to Sign, who is Andre above, and his group. Of course, I'm a part of it as well. They teach sign language. You can contact them through Instagram. It's Ready to Sign. So you just type that in Instagram and you'll find them. Yeah, I think for me the best place to learn is from a deaf person. That's my experience. I grew up with deaf parents. So the best place to learn a language is from the actual native user, whoever the native user is. So I'd recommend Ready to Sign. So I think, yeah.
And anything you could say in terms of preparation, expectation for those who would like to learn sign language? Any tips?
Yeah, I have a few tips. Going with an open mind. It's not English, so you do not go in thinking that you're going to learn words such as is, are, the, that. It's a totally different language. However, it is influenced by English and Patois, but it's not. It's a different language, different grammar, different structure. So when you do go in to learn, it's like clearing your mind and learning something brand new, a brand new language. So that's the tip that I'd have to give. And once you're consistent, just like working out, Once you're consistent, you'll see the gains. If you're not consistent, you won't see the gains.
All right. Thank you so very much. And by that I mean Andre Witter, Antoinette Aiken, and Abram Aiken for joining us this morning. Again, listeners, if you'd like to see what was happening in terms of the signing going on in the discussion, please log on and you will be able to witness that firsthand. Thank you all for joining us. Have a safe and productive day. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. For information on how to get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-9596-7. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and our guests. Please join Mr. Stokely Marshall next week as he continues to look at the issues of the day. I'm Dalian Toussaint, giving a shout out to the pastor, members, and friends of the St. James Baptist Association as I return you to Love in the Morning.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness works to ensure the provision of quality health services and promotes healthy lifestyles and environmental practices for all Jamaicans. The time by the Ministry of Health and Wellness is
8 a.m. and you are now invited to listen to Forward in Faith, a repeat broadcast of Forward in Faith, brought to you by the New Testament Church of God in Bayside, Portmore.